I believe John Massive, me begging if you just live progressive because we live life the real life it will live. When it comes earthquakes like Javier, General Lebo, we ready for get no forgive. Aggressive, assertive, attentive, innovative. Black people representative. We want to just lean back and check the motive. Sing out.
Right now they use them, they kill one another. Right now in the time for the pray to the Father. Right now, Billy's under fire. Right now, right now, right now, right now they use them, they kill one another. Right now in the time for the pray to the Father. Right now, spread the news to your brother. Right now, right now, right now, right now. Blind lead the blind, prophecies fulfilled. Signs of the time when Satan billions them call it white collar crime. Granny scrape the pennies, but she cannot find a dime. One more wrong under them coke and wine. Then they try this time mankind. But so them I get snatched up from behind and bleed to the eye when they bind the twine. Cause of them the economy on decline. Moral fabric of society on decline. Ecosystem on decline. Them could have started all day one thing they can't find. And that's a peace of mind. Right now they use them, they kill one another. Right now in the time for the pray to the Father. Right now, Billy's under fire. Right now, right now, right now, right now.
Greetings in the name of all things good and gracious. I am G. Michael Reid. I want to invite you once again to our weekly podcast. We beg a couple of minutes of your time, a couple of hours actually, from right now until, well, it's 8 in New York City, right? So that's until 10 in Belize, 7 until 9, and on the east and the west coast, I believe it's about 5 o'clock. 2 hours behind, yeah. So we'll be on there until 7. We do this every week. We try not to bore you, offend you, disrespect you. We cover all the things that are trending, all the news that are trending out there, be they foreign or local. We believe that we are all connected. It is now a global village. We cover from femicide in Belize to genocide in Palestine, mudslides in Nicaragua, earthquakes in Japan, hurricanes in Jamaica, and all else that's affecting our planet. We're all in this together. In Belize, it's chilly. It's been chilly for a couple of days and a couple of nights. And tonight looks like it's going to be chilly once again. Okay. Anyway, phone is ringing on the other side. I hope that's not. Oh, here go Groove Master in the house. Who invite this boy again, man? How you doing with that? See why? And Bradford is trying to get on. I don't know if he's not getting the link. He's but if I leave here now to go to answer that phone, we'll disrupt the whole program. So let's see if he can work it out himself. No. Good evening, sir. How you go?
Not too bad at all. You're looking as marvelous and as energetic as ever.
Don't start that no easier at all. That will make me not pull off no gloves and give you no kid treatment. Yeah, we're in this to make it happen.
Well, let's say you could catch more flies with honey than you can with vinegar. You know?
That's right. Now, if you're going out of flies, but we're doing all right. How you handle the chill? Cookie tree cold.
Cookie tree cold the morning.
Yeah, it snowed up there last night.
That definitely blanket kind of weather, you know. But and it's very cloudy. But I must say, it looked like we're coming out of the hurricane season. We're already halfway through November.
Yeah.
I know big things are planned. You know, I don't see nothing on the horizon.
I tell you, time is flying, boy. It's
for real.
I mean, just the other day, January. You know, here we go again. Just take down Christmas tree lights now. We got to put them back up again, right?
And you have to take them down. Just keep them up all
Nah. I hate when people do that, my boy. And I see it sometimes. People got up decorations and yeah. Really? You can live with that idea? The seasons change, man. You have to change. You have to move off onto different things.
I agree
Uh,
with. I agree
couple,
with.
all right, well, a couple of things making the rounds. Government is the U.S. government back in business?
Well, I believe I know that the 8 Democrats lost their spine and they voted with the Republicans. So technically, it should be done. I don't know if it's actually done yet because it has to go to a vote and all kind of thing, you know.
I don't think you're being fair though. Okay, if you suggest they lost their spine,
Yes,
you're thinking they should have held out and kept that government closed.
they did not close the government. They did not close the government. The Republicans control all branches of government. All the Democrats were doing was trying to make sure that certain social things like the Affordable Care Act, which most of the MAGA people did not know that the Affordable Care Act that they love was actually Obamacare. They never knew that.
But I don't want your campaign, man. First of
Hmm.
all, let's welcome Greg to the program.
Hey, Greg.
Good
You're a
evening.
Democrat. We know that. I
No,
am
but
not a Republican nor a Democrat, but I
nor
think
I.
we'll have to look at things more objectively. Greg, where they
Yeah.
going with the shutdown? Did you agree with it? Agree with the reopening?
Well, I think they reopened and they shut down without any benefit because whatever was intended to be gained by the shutdown was
Hmm.
lost by not achieving those objectives. So I think it just looks totally bad on the Democrat, and it's going to cost them even those gains that I think was they were so optimistic about after looking at the election that just went by. So a lot has to happen to bring the people back under their influence because of that move that they made. So I don't necessarily agree with the original shutdown, but once they did, I think it was incumbent that they achieve their objective. Otherwise, as people said, people just went through a bunch of pain for no real benefits.
But that's it. What
Exactly.
about all those people who were going through pain, losing their jobs? Some of them got back their jobs, their checks that were stopped that are now flowing once again. Certainly, they might not have gotten what they wanted, and it seemed like indeed it was a waste of time. But
Yes.
by the same token, the government open and running again is ensuring that at least, but business as usual. No?
Yeah.
No, but
Well,
we're
as I
not
said,
looking. We're not looking at the cost because, first of all, I did not agree with the Republican shutdown. I agreed when the Democrats said, "Well, you know what? We are going to hold out because we want these things." And everybody was with the Democrats. They were on a roll. They had a big night, November 4th. They were on a roll. And these 8 Democrats, they decided that they would rather side with the Republicans. But the
No,
problem
that's not
is,
a
G
fair
Mike, hold on,
statement.
G Mike, hold
No,
on,
no,
G
but
Mike,
but
hold
you
on.
can't drop thing and run like that. And why else?
And then
But
the run,
you'd
I
have
still,
just
I
you're
still, I
dropping
still
something
walk.
there. Hold on. You're saying the Democrats decided to side with the
With the
Republicans, and
Republic.
that is not true.
What
They
happened?
decided to vote to open the government up, don't
No,
you
they
think?
just okay. You are playing semantics with words. They sided with the Republicans to open the government. Let me finish. Without getting anything that they wanted, without realizing by siding with them, they're going to jeopardize a whole bunch of people losing health care. A whole bunch of people are going to be charged way more for insurance, medical insurance. They didn't get anything. So it seemed like they're very weak, those 8 people. But the thing about it is, 6 of them, they're not to run again and 2 they retire. So you could understand why they did it because they know they did the wrong thing, but they probably got bribed or somebody probably bent their arm a little bit too much.
And let's welcome Joe to the show. Joe, you familiar with this shutdown at all? What's going on? Good night, sir.
But yeah, I'm somewhat agreeing with my friend there that I think those 8 Democrats betrayed the cause of the people and for all that they had stood for.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to me that they are totally indifferent to the real purpose of the whole shutdown and why the Democrats did what they did. And I thought that the Democrats would have gotten what they wanted.
Yep.
So
But them not getting it. How long do you get to get it before you say, you know, this is ridiculous because this is upsetting a lot of people's lives, and seems we're not going to get what we're trying to get anyway. Trump, that was stubborn guy, and the Republicans obviously, it's the government that shut down by not being able to agree to begin with. So I think to suggest that the Republicans shut it down, and I didn't agree with that. It was shut down because the Democrats did not vote to keep it open.
Oh, come on, G Mike. The Republicans control all branch of government.
So then they could have opened it back up if they wanted to without the Democrats.
G Mike, let me tell you something.
No, hold on. I'll ask you a question, man.
What?
So like the
Uh-huh.
right run past thing. Could
No.
Could the Republicans have opened the government if they wanted to without those 8 Democrats signing on?
Now, your problem is again this stuff.
Well, again, you're not answering the question. Answer the question, then deal with my problem.
No, they could not. No, they could not.
All right.
No, they could not.
So,
But the thing
then
is,
they
G
don't
Mike,
control everything.
what you are not understanding is what they were holding out for.
No, but that has
Granted,
nothing to do with what we were talking about, man.
People were suffering, like you said, with the shutdown. But
Right.
people are going to suffer more now that they caved in. People are going to suffer more now that they caved in.
The ones who are going to go back to work are going to suffer more now.
No, the ones who won't be able to get health insurance with preconditions. The one who won't be able to afford medical care or food or to get taken off of welfare.
I would like to follow up on what my answer was. Almost every decision we make in life is a cost-benefit analysis decision. Sometimes we are not conscious of it and we do it unconsciously. There is a cost to shutting down, but there is a benefit. So I believe in the end, the cost exceeded the benefit because of what the Democrats did, those 8 Democrats. Mm-hmm. The benefit was indeed to ensure that healthcare would have been available to over 40 million people. The subsidies would have been agreed to, and I believe that the Republicans would have come along.
Yeah.
So what they got is what I think, like our DPP said in the investigation, they get less than nothing. That's what they ended up with. Because all they had was a promise that they will come back to it. But to me, I think they lost a wonderful opportunity to get what they were fighting for.
I hear what you guys are saying, and it seems like all 3 are on the same page. But I am saying to you that a government as big as the United States government running with obviously no infrastructure in place and working, all parts not working, they're not a very good thing for the whole world because they have so much influence on everybody else. Now that the Democrats are not giving up on that, they're going to fight it, and in fact, they're suggesting that somewhere down the line is probably they're gonna shut it down again, but they have to get things going, and some things are back in place.
Yeah, but
the thing is that Greg and Joe agree that you're wrong, G Mike.
The strategic mistake they made is that they lost a wonderful opportunity that they may not get again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that to me is where I think they were strategically, politically wrong.
Where did the opportunity lie?
The opportunity was that it was in their favor. The elections was evidence that it was rolling in their favor.
Right.
Trump was beginning to get uneasy with it, and he began to make promises that let the money go direct to them. So he was beginning to tell you that he too was beginning to find out. Yeah.
I didn't see that. I thought they were adamant. They were not going to give in, and they were going to let this carry on as long as it had to.
That is because of the way you see. That's because of the way of your slant. I don't want to. No, I think it's because of the way you see things.
Concerned about the way you argue, because you don't argue logically. You argue with one lot of fallacies ad hominem for the most part. This has nothing to do with me.
No, I am saying this has to do with the way you see things. You see things like there was nothing being achieved. The rest of the world see it that the Republicans were backpedaling. The Democrats were moving forward. And if they would have just held the line for people were starting to see the emperor had on no clothes. And what happened? Instead of keeping up the fight, these Democrats crumbled so that they could get their constituents happy without realizing what they're going to have to pay in the long run.
Yeah.
But we do have precedents for this in democratic institutions, democratic countries. Whenever you see that pressure begin to come, they will give in. The Republicans would have given in because the pressure was coming. And that is what those eight.
And even the president had said that even the president had said the Republican had lost pace because of the shutdown. So the pressure, as even from the perspective of the president, was on the Republican Party to find a resolution, and that the Democrats at that time just gave up. It seems just weak. So it seems to me that something was promised to them. I cannot imagine what it would be, but it seemed that somehow they became, in a way, willing to accept something that was offered to them, especially the six and that were no longer going to be running, and probably the other two, something else was up that just made them compromise in the way they did.
Yeah. It was a very bad ending for a good week.
I differ with you all on that. I believe that we tend to have our cynicism about politics. I can't blame you all for it because of the behavior of some politicians. I quite frankly don't believe that they were offered anything in terms of financial benefits. I think they acted out of their own belief, which is a result of, to me, a lack of good political sense.
But they didn't come, Mr. Cowie, they didn't come and give proper explanation to the people ahead or after they have made those decisions. Nothing have come as to why they made those decisions. To them.
No, I don't agree. They gave their explanation, but I did not agree with them. That's a different thing. They did not act it just like that. They gave explanation.
You realize that?
No, but not ahead. They gave some explanation. Some individuals gave some explanation afterwards that says, "Oh, it's not going anywhere," and so we. But
do you realize?
I think the thing that Steve mentioned, there is some merit to it. These are some bunch of people who are about to retire now. Mm-hmm. So to me, they were giving up. They were giving up on. They had no more longer political career. They were at the end.
And what we have to understand too, the head of the immigration department was seen taking $50,000 in cash, a bag. So it wouldn't be, to me, rare to have somebody, get a quid pro quo for something. We know how Trump operates. But again, I think that now that Representative Grijalda, I believe it is, got sworn in, and they got the 218 votes for the Epstein file, and they got all of these emails where Epstein saying that Trump was in the room with the girl for hours, and Trump is the only dog that hasn't barked yet. I think that the Republicans were really backpedaling, but these, like Joe said, either they didn't understand or they just didn't care.
That's another point you're making. Is that the Epstein files that have added some of the pressure?
Yeah, exactly.
The Democrats wanted. They were very short-sighted.
So you guys really believe that it would have been better for the Democrats to have left that government shutdown, and as long as it had to take for them to get what they wanted? This is what all three of you are saying.
I believe because the pressure was building on the Republicans that it could have gone on a bit longer and see how it shakes out.
And that there was no cry from the people to get this resolved. There was no cry.
There was cry because we are coming up to one of the biggest travel holiday, and
Right.
the and the and the
All right.
the
Thanksgiving weekend
FAA,
coming up.
yeah, and the FAA was going to be in trouble because they were already reaching the point where all of the supervisors for the airport management, the air traffic controllers, they were getting burned out because many of them were not, or some of them were not showing up for work. So it was putting strain on the ones that were showing up. And so that became an issue. And I think other issues, some TSA workers were also being on laid off or put on rotation. So there were lots of pressure that was going to be mounted, and I
That's right.
think the government would have resolved it before it gets to that event. I think this within the next 2 weeks or the next week
You
they would have
think if they
resolved.
had held out, but why
Yeah,
then would those 8 Democrats do that? It makes no sense.
that's
Let me give
exactly.
another example, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. All those polls, if I remember, was showing where they were blaming the Republicans for the shutdown.
Yep.
They
Yeah.
were not blaming the Democrats. So
Even even, even those who were being affected and were losing their checks and their jobs, they
They
were
were
blaming the
blaming the
Republicans.
Republican. G
Well,
Mike,
I think
you can't be
I
the
think. Go ahead.
Greg. No, I was gonna say that you can't be the captain of the ship and don't take responsibility when there's a problem.
Yeah.
They control all branch of government. It is their duty to make sure that the government stays open,
that's right.
bargain, and do what you
Do
have to
you
do.
think that the regular voter really understands that and thinks so sophisticatedly?
Yes,
Do you?
because the majority of the public called it the Republican shutdown.
Right.
That's right.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
right.
but you know what? I will say something. Listening to the narrative and the aggressiveness of how the Republicans was putting it, it did put the Democrats in a little bit of a squeeze because they don't seem to be as articulate in expressing their
That's it.
positions as the Republicans were, and they were calling it the Democrat shutdown, and they were hammering them every single day. I open the TV, and I don't just look at Fox News. I look at all the MSNBC, CBS, and I was like, where are the Democrats in terms of trying to explain the position of the shutdown? They are not. They may have a one-liner, but they were not giving a comprehensive explanation as to their position, as to why they would not vote for it. And I thought, I was like, something is going on. Something is going on why they are not expressing themselves. They seem just to be dumbstruck in terms of explaining their positions.
So you
You-
you think the Democrats were not telling their truth as well as the Republicans were telling their lies?
No.
That could be exactly a good expression of
Yes,
it.
yes.
Well,
But the
I
thing
would
is, that you
that's
have so many Republicans. You have so many Republicans who are loyal to Trump that whatever he says, every one of them is going to get out there and repeat. Whereas the Democrats, they don't have like a master that they bow down to, where they have to run out and say, you know what the master says. I look at Jasmine Crockett. I look at a couple of the guys from the in the Senate. I look at AOC, and they're very articulate. They're out there all the time. But every single Republican politician is on the news all day, every day.
Well, the media is also giving them a big boost. You see, the media what was promoting the Republicans' narrative, don't you think?
Definitely. But the problem is that
As Greg has said, he every time he turned on the radio, he was hearing the Democrats shut down. They were
the
blaming
media
the Democrats for the shutdown.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
media is one of the biggest problems in the United States, because when Joe Biden was president, I remember they used to talk about how old Joe Biden was, and Trump was 3 years younger. They used to talk about how senile Joe Biden was, but Trump is way worse right now. And because Trump sucks the room out of the air, and because every day he's doing some stupidness, the media talk about it. And like the
So,
old saying goes, as long as you talk about me, it doesn't matter what you're saying. Just keep my name out there.
You're saying then that the Joe Biden, when they were saying that Joe Biden was getting old and senile and stumbling and whatnot, that it wasn't true.
No, I'm saying they ignore the fact that so was Trump. They ignore the
But
fact.
Trump wasn't a president then.
No, but he was running. But they also ignored the fact. Do you think that you think that Barack Obama could ever get up in front of the media and tell them that they're going to be lowering prices 1,500%? They would first of all look at him and say, "What kind of idiot are you?" But they let
I
Trump
don't
get
think
up there.
I don't
They
think
let
Johnny Briceño could do that.
No, they let
I
Trump get up there every day and say how he's going to be lowering prices 1,500, 1,200, 500, all kind of percent that don't exist. And they just let him slide.
I think one of the problems facing the Democrats, unlike what it was in the past, they do not have articulate, eloquent, dramatic speakers again.
Yep.
They don't see them. If you look at Newsom, I think Newsom did well. They needed someone Newsom there in the forefront. There were so many things that the Democrats could have done. And as to the media stuck to their party lines. You know, they stuck to their party lines. Fox going with the Republicans, MSNBC going with the Democrats. But they were lacking in terms of dramatizing that message. They're never eloquent and articulate like the Clintons and the Obamas are.
Yeah.
We have the midterms coming up next year. The Democrats seemed on a roll with the win by Mamdani. Are you saying that they've lost some of that steam, and in fact they might now be in less of a position to get some of the gains that they would have gotten? Is that what
I
I'm
think
hearing?
so. I think they lost some of that steam because they disappoint a lot of people in carrying them, having them bear the sacrifice. You have to remember who were some of the most people that bear the sacrifice, and they were willing to bear that sacrifice to make sure that the insurance scheme continue to be funded. And now that they are going to be hit with this cost, it's going to be why did we carry this through? So I'm only hopeful now that they said that there'll be a chance sometime in December, I think, to vote on having the insurance program be reevaluated. I'm hoping that happen, and I don't see any reason why the president would roll over and make it happen, since he already squeezed most of the juice out of them.
That's right. That's right.
It's, go ahead.
I think
No,
1 year, gentlemen, in politics is a very, very long time.
Yes.
When I look at November next year, anything can happen. But some of the things that we know will happen. One, Trump will not be running again.
Are you
No.
sure?
Are you sure?
Are you sure?
Because I've been hearing some.
Trump won't be able to run again. That's a fact. Let's not even argue that.
Well, Trump had to deal with, they will pass a law.
Nobody
Maybe-
thought
I
nobody thought
think-
a president would have destroyed the White House.
No, I am saying this that Trump will not run again. No. Why I'm saying it? Unless you think you're going to have a military coup. I am going along the line simple. That you need 2/3 and you need 3/4 of the states. That will not happen.
Yeah.
So he will not get a change. Now, if you want to suggest that he's going to keep himself in the office military, well, that's a different matter. And I don't think that will happen either.
No, I don't think that will happen.
That's might be what he's setting himself up for, and putting the military in these
Exactly.
particularly the blue states.
What I think will happen is that Trump will not be running again, but giving his ego, he will not want to let go of the party. The person that will be succeeded Trump will have to demonstrate to the voters that they are taking back.
Loyalty.
But
Trump want to let go, and that is what will hurt the Republicans.
What
here's,
happened with the Republicans also, I feel like because the Democrats gave in and the Republicans will have a chance to do what they want to do, this is going to be one of those things where be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. I think that when people start to see, all right, the government's open, but my health care is going up, I can't afford groceries and all kind of stuff. I think that's going to, even though people are going to be pissed at those 8 Democrats, they're going to realize the Republicans control everything. So whatever is happening now that the government is open is what the Republicans wanted. So if they can't afford groceries and gas and health care, that's what the Republicans wanted. And about Trump staying in office, why do you think that he's bringing out military in all of these states? Why do you think he's getting rid of all the immigrants? He's trying to make people scared to come out and do their civic duty.
Groove, you see how I tell you, drop thing and run past it? You're saying that people are going to realize that their healthcare is going up, their food prices are going up, and that is what the Republicans wanted. Is that what you're saying?
That's what they want. They want the healthcare. I mean, that's what they're saying. By cutting the programs that they're cutting, people's cost of living, healthcare, and everything is going to go up. That's their policy.
And that's their plan. The Republicans want that to happen.
That is their plan, G. Mike. That is what they're telling. Project 2025.
That makes no sense.
I don't think that. No, I don't think it's a plan of the Republican, but I think their plan will cause it. But it's not their
policies. The policies they're taking.
That's what I'm saying.
Will result in it.
You see, the challenge that will face the Republicans as what happened in most elections. Most elections belong to the kitchen table issues, as happened in this recent election. This election, there was one word that stood out: affordability. Now, if you look at the Trump policies, Trump is mistakenly continuing to believe that tariff and these measures he are taking will bring back the economy. It will not. It just cannot. Yep. And you don't need no PhD in economics to understand that Trump will not be able to bring back the economy the way he thinks with those things that he's doing. He won't.
Exactly. So even if they don't want to do it, the harebrained policies they have will cause it.
That's right.
No matter what they want to do, that's what's going to happen. And all the economists know this. All the political science and the economic people are saying this is terrible what's happening. But if you're a Republican or a Trump guy, you shut your eyes to it because you can't be wrong.
Let me show you something that I think the people are well aware of. That same SNAP program. Now, that is helping 40 million people. The economists are showing, and I think we can all understand that was in fact, by removing it and causing it to be reduced, will cut back demand. And when it cuts back demand, evidently, the demand will cause loss of jobs. And there will continue to be inflation because of what they want to do with the central bank. So the way I'm seeing it, I don't think Trump will be able to bring back this economy.
Not at all. And he was given a great economy, When Trump came in the first time after Obama, he rode the wave of Barack Obama's economy until he crashed it. Then when he got out of office and Joe Biden came in, Joe Biden fixed his Trump screwed up economy and got it back on track. And Trump came in and screwed it up again.
Well, Biden did get it going, but he did pump a lot of Federal Reserve money into the economy at that time with all the different programs that was used to cover the COVID fiasco. The COVID epidemic program.
Even in that time, jobs were being...
You say exactly, but you do exactly what you're accusing the Republicans who support Trump of doing by opposing Trump in everything that he does.
Because
it's the same kind of passion without objectivity. It's like you're against it, so whatever you're going to go against it. Well, I'm saying that it can't be all that bad. I mean, it's not that. And Biden wasn't all that good. Neither was Obama. There were problems with both those presidencies that you don't want to look at because they were Democratic.
Name the ones with Obama and name the ones with Biden. Because
go ahead.
No, what I'm saying is, anybody. This is what make a good conversation hard. anybody that could compare Donald Trump with any other president, Democrat or Republican, is losing their mind. Anybody who could think
Because
that,
you say so.
huh?
Because you say
No,
so.
because of the facts, because of the evidence, because of everything that Donald Trump does is against society. Nothing is for the good of anyone.
And
Let me just back up a little bit, because I do believe under the first Trump policy there was some good economic policies, or the tendency or the push to make some good policies.
But it
One
screwed up
was
the economy.
one was the repatriation of money back to the country from those corporations. That was a good policy. His policy to make all those other countries that were supporting through NATO pay a larger sum of money. I think, though, what has happened in terms of those funding, I would have hoped the United States would have reduced its contribution to NATO. But it seems the United States is increasing theirs, while we are also demanding those countries to buy more weapons. And that was kind of disturbing to me, because I thought the intent was to keep an equilibrium of military spending, but make sure that the United States was not paying too much of a disproportionate share of it. So
Gregory,
those are some of the, yes.
do you know the reason why NATO exists, right?
Yes,
The
I
reason
know.
why NATO
But
exists.
the reason for it to exist no longer seems to be a valid reason.
Yeah,
The Soviet Union does not exist anymore.
the reason for NATO existing is so that no war comes to the shores of the United States. Any problem that happens beforehand will be dealt with before it get here. So being a part of NATO, it benefits NATO also, but it benefits us just as much, if not more. And
Yeah,
I
but
agree with that, but that was not the point. That was not where I was with it.
the purpose of NATO was a defense mechanism. That's what they did. It was for defense.
yeah, exactly.
It was for defense.
Exactly.
But for the same reason,
but not the defense of the United States.
well, what
the
happened?
defense of the European countries who were members
Oh,
of
come
it.
on, Mike, come on, read your history.
That one touch all kind of policy they had in place. You can't see that?
Just allow me to finish it. Because the same reason why the United States did not enter the war in the case of World War II, because they felt safe where they were until they bombed Pearl Harbor, then they gone into the war. Now, when they gone for the alliance, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization defense mechanism, it is true that you can say by where the war likely to begin. Nobody's side will Brazil attack the United States or Venezuela. Evidently not. It's more likely to come from the east. In Europe, that's where the war is likely to come. So America is in fact somewhat insulated, but not totally. So to me, it is the countries, and what Russia did make it now even more necessary to have NATO by invading.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. That's not true.
You can't say that.
True.
I am not saying
What's not true? What's not true?
NATO.
That Russia represents a threat to anyone beyond the Ukraine or maybe some other small states in Europe. Russia does not threaten France. It does not threaten
Why?
Germany.
Not yet.
It does not threaten the United Kingdom, because it doesn't. At this point, it doesn't have the capacity. We see them stumbling under just trying to defend their position with Ukraine.
So wait a second. You are saying because they are stumbling now that NATO to me is a strong force to deter Russia and China and stuff like that. We see what Russia
is. China is not an expansive country.
But you know something? Not yet. Not yet. Russia was our friend after World War II. They were not trying to do nothing, but now they are.
Doing what? What are they trying to do, Group?
They are trying to bring back the Union of Soviet Socialist
That's what you're saying.
That is what Putin said.
No, he didn't. No, he never said that.
Putin said he will bring back Joe, did he say that?
Putin did not say that. Putin
Yes,
said he's not interested in doing that.
That
I
is what
heard that interview that he
He
said
just
that.
doesn't want them to be threatening his border with nuclear weapons.
Exactly.
That's
NATO,
all.
did you
The
know?
United States.
Joe, you and I must be listening to a different kind of news.
No, man. It was clear that Putin was going back towards reuniting those countries.
What made that clear to you, Joe?
When he said it, he said it.
No, he
More
didn't
than
say
one
that.
time.
He didn't say
You
that.
and Group
He didn't
heard
say
him say that.
Yes,
He
more
said
than one time.
Yes,
No, he didn't say
More
that.
than one time.
Hey, man,
Talking-
you're repeating talking points. That's not true.
Oh.
No, he didn't. He did not say that. He
You
did
know
not say
why? Do you know why Russia attacked Ukraine, Groove? Do you know why?
Yeah, because they thought that Ukraine was gonna join NATO, and they did not want.
And why do
place
you
nuclear
think,
weapons on their border
right?
What?
and
There-
have nuclear weapons, potential of placing nuclear weapons on the Russian
No, but
border.
again, you know
Less
what?
than
You know
5
what
minutes
happened?
notification. Less than
Do you
5
know how
minutes
much?
notification of
Because
a
they
nuclear
attacked
strike.
Ukraine. Because they attacked Ukraine.
Because
they-
because Ukraine threatened to bring NATO on their border.
What is the
install-
problem if a sovereign nation decide I want to join?
Every
No,
problem.
Anyway,
no,
Anyway,
Every
you know
problem
what
exists.
the problem
Every
is?
problem
you-
exists.
Are you old enough to remember the Cuban Missile Crisis? Group?
Yes, Khrushchev and Kennedy, of course.
Right. What happened?
Well, they played chess, and you
No,
had two
not
men who were
Not in my
sensible.
backyard. Not in
You
my
had two
backyard.
men who were sensible. That could have been World War III. But
Exactly.
if that was anybody else besides Kennedy and Khrushchev, we would have had World War III.
You argue hypothetically, and you can't do that because you can't prove those things that you're saying. Now, first of all, Soviet was going to put missiles in Cuba, which is in America's backyard.
Yeah.
Now, when NATO, when they made the agreement with NATO, after the Russia agreed to allow the two Germanys to reunite, there was a deal that said NATO would not move 1 inch eastward. That was written and signed to by these countries. Now, with Ukraine trying to establish a base for NATO in their country, was basically the same thing was happening with the Cuban missile. So Russia decided, no, we're not done gonna Poland, we're gonna Finland. I can't allow this. This is right in my backyard. Can you understand any of that, even if you think it's wrong?
No, I think I understand it, and I would like to explain it my way. I'm not Frank Sinatra, of course. There is no doubt that Putin had a legitimate concern, and let's not say he did not. He had the concern that Ukraine is likely to go into NATO and pose a threat. Now, the NATO countries recognize it, and they themselves consciously try to make it known that they will not encourage Ukraine to come into NATO for the same reason. But Putin, of course, side differently. And that is why he did the unprovoked invasion to me. But he invaded for the reason he thought it would be a threat to Russia.
Did you know that they were close to a deal? That they were close to a deal to avoid that war, and the UK and America told Zelensky, do not sign any peace deal there. That is, you could do the research on that one. So they wanted, obviously, a war there. And I sincerely believe that there was a reason for that. There's a reason for that, because they wanted to get Russia engaged so they could do what they wanted to do in the Middle East. Russia is usually the only country that steps up when you see any kind of advantage like that being taken. They couldn't do it then because they were already trying to just defend themselves.
Wow. Wow. That's very surprising to hear you defending Russia. What I will say though is this.
The Russian people and the Russian, let me finish here. The Russian people and the Russian government has a right to a proper defense and to their defense. They have not been aggressive towards the United States or any of those countries, any of those countries. And things were going good until we broke the agreement that we made not to put NATO on the doorstep of Russia. They allow us to go in Poland. They allow us to go in Georgia. They allowed
Who
us to
allowed
go.
Hold on. Who
They
allowed?
allowed the Russians allowed the
Russians allowed NATO
the Russians
to go into
allowed
those
it.
countries. Yeah.
Because
The Russians allowed it.
yes, because the agreement with the Reagan administration when the walls fell was that NATO would not expand into those countries, and then they broke that agreement through the Clinton administration. Clinton was the first one that totally abandoned that particular agreement.
Well, just for the record, this is going to go down as one of the biggest blunders in history because Russia was trying to keep NATO from coming on their doorstep. NATO has increased their borders with Russia.
And it makes no sense. And it makes no sense.
No, but wait, that's what it is. That's what it is because in 2023, Finland joined. In 2024, Sweden joined. So by trying to stop Ukraine from getting in, they allowed NATO to increase their borders because nobody wants Russia to come.
And let's look at it. We're spending 30 or 40 times the amount of money that Russia spends on defense between all these countries, and they are now programmed to increase it to a certain percentage, 1 or 2% of their GDP. Just imagine that and tell me if it makes any sense to the citizens of these countries. Yes, I could understand the feeling of small countries like Sweden and Switzerland and those countries that are right on the border and such. But it makes no sense, the geopolitical position that most of Europe, major countries, France, Germany, United Kingdom, have pushed the world into this scenario that we're once again facing off against Russia when they do not represent that level of threat. When they do not, let me finish. When they do not represent that level of threat to the world,
they're a boogeyman.
Can I ask a question to you?
Oh man,
what are the countries you believe that poses a realizable threat?
To what?
NATO.
To NATO?
To those countries, those NATO countries. What are the
None.
countries?
None.
All right. So if there's none, why don't you dissolve NATO then?
Well, let's do it.
Actually, Mr. Trump wanted to do that before,
and
then all of a sudden,
I believe that Joe was asking that question sarcastically because it would be a dumb idea.
Yeah, we are over this side of the world. We are over this side of the world trying to make a decision for those countries. It is those countries realize how dangerous it is for countries like Russia and North Korea and even China. That's why
have any of those countries been expanding? Do any of those countries have 80 military bases throughout the rest of the world? In countries
Russia
that they have no business in?
Russia is trying to expand.
Trying to expand where? Where are they trying
Russia
to expand?
took Crimea. Then it went on and it's trying to take Ukraine. And when the other countries along Russia's border see that happening, apparently you guys want the countries to say, "Oh, look what Russia did today. You know I do it to we."
Look at the amount of land they have, the whole of Crimea. That is why the Russians NATO realize that they have to strengthen themselves against Russia.
Joe, I to tell you something, Joe. I am telling you something seriously, and a lot of us don't want to believe it. Everybody have a slant on how they see things.
It's people like you that cause war.
Some people will look at it. I'm just saying in general. Everybody have a slant on how they see things. Some people will look at it and say, "Oh, Russia invaded Ukraine." Some people will say, "Oh, America and United States allowed Russia to invade Ukraine without."
Stop right there. The United States, the Biden administration was reckless and allowed this war to get started. They sat around for a month and said Russia is building up, and did nothing meaningful to make sure that this did not happen. Don't tell me they could not have done something, call the Russian in and say, "We will not allow this, and these are the action." For a long time, they were pretending to the Ukraine, "We'll send you this, we'll send you this." That could not help them defend their country. It
All
was
right.
a year later that they
Mr.
actually.
Gregory,
Yes.
so do you believe that NATO intention is to invade Russia and take over Russia?
Nobody,
I asked a question.
Nobody wanted to.
No,
They wanted to be in a position in the event that something happened with Russia, they could then
No,
assault.
To
I don't
defend.
think. I
I
don't
don't
think.
know if they were going to. We don't know that.
It's
Go
a
ahead, Greg,
defense.
you answer the question.
I don't believe that NATO wants to invade Russia, but I do think they want to keep Russia checked. And I think the threat of putting missiles in Ukraine right on the border, that Russia would have 5 minutes warning that missiles are heading to their country, is not a position that any leadership, any people wants to be in. Russia
Well,
has
trying to keep Ukraine from launching in 5 minutes, they got Sweden and Finland that could launch in 3 minutes. So I mean, it's ridiculous now.
Yeah. It was a bad played hand. It was a bad played hand because Russia is in a worse position now than before they invaded Ukraine.
There are three words.
Bad played hand.
There are hold on. There are three words. There are three words. Military industrial complex. You need to keep that in mind because war is money and money for a lot of people. So I really think that a lot of that was set up for financial gain.
But
By whom?
By whom?
I am really
By the military industrial complex.
In Russia or the United States?
That doesn't exist in Russia.
I am at a loss to understand why is it that Ukraine, a sovereign country, was indeed attacked by Russia, took away part of their land, and we are sitting here saying that Ukraine has a right to look for defend itself.
But you're missing the point. Now we're not. Why?
I'm not saying that.
But I am saying that Ukraine has a right to defend itself.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying they shouldn't have represented a threat. I'm saying they should not have posed themselves to represent a threat to the sovereignty of Russia by engaging to be a part of NATO and have NATO put military weapons, nuclear weapons, on their border that gives them less than 5 minutes of warning.
They invaded Ukraine when they took Crimea, and there was no threat for NATO then.
That's right. You assume as if though that Russia was friendly to Ukraine and Ukraine was hostile to Russia. That's
there was always that issue, and they did take Ukraine. They did take Crimea, and there were reasons. And I'm not saying they should have. I'm not saying they should have, but we know that what happened there is that the pretense that they took it under, that is given to us, is that the Russian citizens or Russians speaking portion of that citizenry was being mistreated by the government of Ukraine. We don't know how true that is. I don't know how true that is.
Yeah, okay. But we're going to give Russia the benefit of the doubt.
No, but I'm not agreeing with the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Taking
but you're
Crimea.
disagreeing that when after Russia invaded Ukraine and took Crimea, that Ukraine was wrong for trying to seek protection. They should not have sought protection. They should have just said, you know what?
I saw you do.
Wait for the next one.
Because Russia said to Ukraine very early on, let's stop everything, accept, and I don't know how true they were, but they said, let's stop everything, let us keep Crimea and move on from this point. And Ukraine did not.
History has not proven itself that way at all. Look at what happened. Look at what happened when Chamberlain was so peace hungry and allowed Germany to take over Czechoslovakia. And what happened? Hitler said that we're going to just take care, we're going to stop the guy this part of Germany. That was why Chamberlain was removed, because he was peace hungry, and he in himself caused Germany and Hitler to have gone. Don't allow that to happen. Russia had intention to take over Ukraine, and if need be, take over those other countries. So to me, Ukraine had a right to defend itself.
Exactly. Exactly.
And the
And-
defense,
and-
the defense should have been inviting NATO to put nuclear weapons in that country.
The NATO,
Yeah.
the NATO countries agreed among themselves that they will not encourage Ukraine to join NATO. But
That's not true. That's not true, Mr. That's not true, Mr. Joe. They gave them a bit of jumping, stepping things to do. They said if you do this, you do that, you go to the World Bank. If you join this sort of federation of European consignment, then we will look at it. But
So let me understand
in all that approach, they were moving closer. They were moving Ukraine closer to NATO. They never said we'll not give you membership. They said
So let me
we want you to
understand
do
this.
these things and develop your economy and all sort of stuff as stepping stone to reaching that level of membership. That's where they
Let's say that Guatemala decide to move in and take PG. Do we have a right to seek a bigger power to help us, or should we just sit down and take it?
Don't be ridiculous.
Don't
be ridiculous, man.
That is a legitimate question. A foreign, and let me tell you something, Spooners, you're wrong. But first of all, Putin was a KGB agent. Putin was
so we have had presidents that was CIA. We have had presidents that was CIA.
Yes, but what I'm saying, Putin made it known that he did not like the fact that the Soviet Union was disbanded.
Yes, that's true. He made that clear. He made that clear. And nobody would like the dismantling. Nobody would like the dismantling of their country.
He said, but a Russian did it. But a Russian did it because they realized that they could not continue the way they were. And Putin said on many occasions that he wants to reunite, to bring back the old Soviet Union, to all the Soviet powers, to all the states that went.
I don't want to be defending the Russian government against the United States.
That's what you're doing, bro.
No. I want to point out that we made certain mistakes in trying to bring NATO on the doorstep of Russia, and that's what provoked the war. That's the only point I was making. It's not that Russia is better than the United States. I believe generally the democratic process that we have in the United States, the semblance of justice and our laws are better serving to the people and humanity than probably the policies of the Soviet Union.
And this question comes up: is there a major pipeline running through Ukraine? And I don't know, but
yes, there is.
Yeah,
it's turned off right now. Yeah, it's turned off right now.
Yeah. And do you know that since the invasion of Ukraine, NATO more than doubled their border with Russia.
Yes,
they more than doubled it.
Okay.
Yeah. The policy that Mr. Putin exercised was a failure.
Yes, but what you have to understand, gentlemen, my learned colleagues, is that when a big, huge, powerful nation come and kick down your door and thief your land, you want to do anything to protect. The same way how you said that Putin don't want no NATO on his border. No leader wants somebody else come and just invading their country.
We don't get to Palestine yet because
Can I just close on this one if you allow me on this issue? I would have thought that we could have looked at Putin and realized that he cannot be trusted. If you had another leader who was not behaving the way Putin does, I think that he would have had peace with his neighbors.
So are you saying that?
I think.
Are you saying Russia is facing the same situation like the United States of America? Are you saying that?
Yeah, a lousy leader. Yes,
it is following the same pathway right now.
So we're gonna condemn Russia all the way, but we're gonna give America a blight. Is that correct?
Well, I don't know who to give Trump a blight right now.
Yeah, let me tell you something. I don't know what it is.
It's more than Trump because every president has been following the same policy.
At least in America,
America is expansion.
at least in America, despite that Trump, you can still have elections. You just had one recently.
Right now in Belize, tourism is down, and they believe that it's because of the recession or the shutdown. But it's been down before that. And one of the reasons why tourism has been down is because when you are a MAGA supporter and you get out there and you talk all this crap about immigrants, you think that they feel safe going to these immigrant shithole countries after they're trying to get all these immigrants out? Naturally, tourism is going to be down. It's not because of nothing.
Run that again, because what you're saying is the reason tourism is down because the Americans are afraid to travel because they go to these countries where the immigrants they're sending are from. Is that it? That's what you're saying?
Have you seen the post? Yes, that's what I'm saying. Have you seen the post in Mexico? Listen to me. Have you seen the post where these people go in Mexico with their MAGA hat and stuff like that, and how they're told to get the hell out of my country, and they don't even want to eat the food because they don't know what they're doing to the food?
You're talking about a MAGA hat.
No, we are talking about people who go.
There are places in America where they go with MAGA hat that they're not welcome.
Exactly, but
So
a lot
of a different matter. No,
a lot of people.
Let's look at this from the immigrant sending point of view. I believe recently signed to a third world country. What's the term they use there? Safe
the
country.
waiting room for the United States.
So what are we? How is that gonna affect us? Well, is it a good move, Joe? Maybe you as a politician could shed some light on that.
Well, to me, it's 10 persons a year, and I don't have.
Do you believe that?
It's 10
You believe that?
persons a year?
You believe that? You believe that? You think anybody will make any go through all that?
All of that.
Modify our laws. Go to our national assembly.
Big signing and all for 10 people.
Pay $125 million in grant and gifts and stuff. To take 10 people.
What I'm not understanding right now is that are you saying that how much the treaty calls for?
The treaty does not say. What we are getting from the government is that it will be 10 people, but the treaty doesn't put a quantity, doesn't quantify it.
You saw the treaty?
No, yes, I saw the treaty. I saw whatever was presented.
And did you see the 10 in it?
No, I didn't see no 10 in it. Did you see 10 in it?
That you go back and read it. No. If it is not 10, how much would it be?
Be hundreds.
Okay, say
hundreds.
You are saying that
it cannot be 10 per year. It cannot be.
I can give you the guarantee right now that any country that would be stupid, I mean, I wouldn't say they're stupid. I would say they're nonsensical for signing a treaty.
Stupid on good word.
No, to sign a treaty without limiting. Evidently, that has to limit the amount. You must
have El Salvador limited the amount, right?
El Salvador, El Belize.
No, but I have heard many
I ask you all to let us reason together.
Right. And let us reason then. Let us look at that 10 number, Joe. You have 10 immigrants coming to Belize every day. And you say they're going to go through that signing, spending money for 10 immigrants a year coming to Belize?
I am saying to you, leave the 10 out and tell me how many it is. That's all.
Do you remember tell you something that has not happened yet? This I can't understand.
They will not sign a treaty without limiting the amount. That's what I'm saying.
Why are you shadowing this PUP government?
We signed a treaty without we signed an agreement that we were going to take these people. And when they asked the minister, what will be our responsibility, they didn't know because it wasn't. They just signed a document without knowing what the hell they were obligated to do, because they could not give an answer. What will Belize be obligated to do? They did not know, but the document was already signed.
Let me say this here. Let me say this here, gentlemen. The signing of the document does not bind the country.
What?
It binds. No, it does not. That's a fact.
No, why sign it?
Give me a chance.
No, it doesn't until it gets ratified by the Senate.
It does not ratify the treaty under our law. Our law has to go to the Senate. Only the Senate can ratify treaty.
And they did.
And
That's
what do you
right.
think will happen with a majority of government members
The
in there?
government, when they sign it, they did not ratify it.
All right, they ratified it today, though, didn't they? When was it? This week sometime.
Yeah, yesterday, I think. Yes.
All right,
Yeah.
so
I said
can
that
be
When they signed it, they didn't know what they were agreeing to.
it has to ratify.
And still they do. Yeah.
Well, if they do not know, then I think that there's no sense in us reading it.
Yeah.
But
No,
Let-
Joe,
let me
but you know
just
something?
back-
Let me tell you what I don't like about it.
if one of you all read it, then you read it.
Yeah,
I
let me
read
tell you what.
portions of
Let me
it.
tell you what I don't.
Tell me what is in it that you don't agree with. Let me hear your read it. What is it that you
Okay,
don't
let
agree
me
No,
tell you what I
no,
do not
like-
agree with. I do not agree with being a goddamn waiting room for the United States. Nobody is trying to come to Belize. They are trying to go to the United States. Deal with it. That's a phone problem. It has nothing to do with us. The same reason how they're killing innocent people on international water over drugs instead of dealing with the drug addicted population. We're looking at the wrong side of the problem. These immigrants that we support, all we then they tell we is we the big people and uno the boy. We could give no Ali money and do it the hell we want. Belize has just turned into a waiting room for the United States. That's
So
all.
when you say waiting room, how do you understand this? That when people want to go to the America, they come here first before they vet them to see
Yeah,
if
they
they're
have to get vetted for see if they want to go to America. So we
All
are
right,
just a waiting room with a
and
greenhouse.
so you in that waiting room there, though there will only be 10 people every year.
Doesn't matter. It's the principle of the thing. We are a sovereign nation. We don't have nobody sidecar. We don't have sovereign nation.
I hear what you're saying, Anthony, but I do believe that a lot of pressure was placed on our government to sort of succeed to this.
Let's look at
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
I think we cannot handle that pressure just because of the state of our economy and how we have to deal with things. So I don't have a problem. Let me finish. I don't have a problem with being in that position. I do hope that our government would be honest and transparent and tell the people with honesty what weight had been placed on them and what the truth is, that the number of people that will stay and how they will control it and what provisions will be provided for them and how the United States will counter some of these costs that will include supporting these people that are intended to be here for that whatever duration, because we know after 5 years we say you want to stay, we'll give you citizenship. And they did point out that we have the right of refusing people that we do not consider to be appropriate. So that part is fine. You were going to say something, Mr. Chairman. Sorry.
No, I would that part that escaped me.
Okay.
But the fact is that they're doing this, and we don't know. Again, you made the point. You don't know what pressure. America is a bully. Everybody knows that, and if you want to deny that, fine. But America will come to you and say, sign this thing, and it could present it in a form of request, but you know very well the consequences of not signing that, and it's not easy. So
That's because I believe that the Caribbean is like Rose Garden. And I think that the islands and Belize, we are the dancers on stage. I believe that the United States, that the person will come in and throw money at we. And if you throw enough money at we, we open our leg to and take whatever you want to do it. And that's the only problem.
We have more than throw money.
So tied.
The more than money.
Our GDP count how much money we are begging for. That's ridiculous.
I think no more than that, because you could say, all right, then go and throw money, and so you take the money and do it. You sell out. They're more than that. They want demand that you have to meet, and you have to understand how vulnerable we are as a small nation, no defense, You're gonna BDF. If that ain't a worry about, then I wish you well. But if you think about the UK, you have to understand what is going on with the world today, and that is why Belize, and I think it's important we understand this, need to unite, need to stand together and stop the fight one another with the public, the fight the government, and the fight the security, with the fight one another, all the ethnic groups, and we then still stand up and talk big. We got a problem. We can't stand up, certainly not to the United States.
So exactly. So again, we just continue bow. We just make up our mind. We are continue bend.
Bow, I know a good word for that, my brother, because it
What
make
would
it
the
seem
word
like
be?
we have something to do with this. Yeah, we have absolutely no choice in this matter. We
We made our
simply,
choice, G Mike. When we went out and we accepted all the grants and took all the loans and took all of these things, we knew what the hell we were doing. We just
you
didn't
know,
realize that we will have to pay the piper when we have to pay the piper now.
I hear you. I hear you. There's a thing though that you're missing. That in order for a country to progress and grow, this is one part of what you have to do. And the government, you would hope that the government would do it in a sustainable way, a pragmatic, a sensible way. That has
Mhm.
not been the case, unfortunately. So, but when you look at Belize, we have made steps forward. We have better roads. I think we got a better standard of living than certainly we did 20, 30 years ago. So I know everything are not doom and gloom. I think if we look at it like that, I'm a very defeatist position
I
to be coming from.
the reason why I feel so strongly is not because I look at Belize with doom and gloom. I believe that Belize is a shining jewel in the Caribbean. I think of all the CARICOM nations, everybody hold themselves proud, but I think that Belize they're not the top three. And that being said, I don't like seeing when other nations just come and more or less tell we what to do. Just sign on this dotted line and we are telling you that we want to sign. I just don't get that.
I have listened and I was quiet because I wanted everybody to speak out what they think it is.
Hmm.
Gentlemen, let us go back. This is not something isolated that we did. Belize has signed on to the International Human Rights Conventions. Belize before benefited during the civil wars in Central America. Hundreds and hundreds of them came into Belize. How did we settle it eventually? It was through that same convention that we signed. And the United Nations, the UNDP, gave Belize a tremendous amount of money to allow us to rationalize and to naturalize those people under our amnesty program. And it was part of that convention. All that Belize is doing now is continuing on that convention that we had signed. Now, if we believe that the terms of it is not good for us, I don't want to hear what is it are these terms that are not good for us.
When
Is
we
it
signed those convention, was there anything going on like the expulsion um, of families and stuff in the United States, or was that under a real president
this is
that we
not
signed?
only this
Well,
is
I
not
think we signed those agreements when we became a member of the United Nations way back in
Or
1981.
this is
exactly,
not
exactly, and that's when Republicans and Democrats had presidents with sense. We're not talking about that agreement now. What is happening has nothing to do with that agreement. What is happening is that this regime is expelling people, or like we like to say that Belize, they're alighting people from their country illegally.
So those
So
are the people that are coming in as a part of that program there that was
I-
no, those
signed.
those are the people that are trying to get to the United States are the ones that we are gonna have.
All right, right, right.
They are
So
when
Well,
what does that have to do with the expelling of people from there? I mean, how does
I
that?
think what our government did in framing the reason why we're taking these people is under those convention of accepting refugee throughout the world. But these people are not refugee and they don't fall under those same conditions
Exactly.
because they are people that were in the United States. If they're refugee going to the United States. And the way that our government framed it, I think did a disservice to what the term and what the convention actually intended.
But we not to get the ones. We not to get the ones where then the ship out. You know.
I don't
we not to
agree
get
with
the ones where then the ship out. We to get the ones where they try get to the United States.
No, we're getting the ones that went to the United States and they're rejecting them. That's how we are going to identify those people. Yes, those people will be returnees from the United States rather than going back to their home country. Because they say that there's some reasons why they cannot return. They're threatened, their family is threatened, they're facing gang violence if they return and stuff like that. Those are the people that when they cannot go back to their home country will be coming to Belize. It's not people transiting the country trying to get to America. It is people that are returned and they will not give them the I forgot
that's a point that needs to be cleared up.
Yes, well, it's the people they don't want to parole in their country while they wait for the clarification.
I trust and I believe what you gentlemen say, but I will have to go and check that because from what I understand, these people that we are going to get, from what I understand, is people who are trying to get to the United States.
Yes, they're trying to get to the United States, but they're usually in the United States.
There. But until they're vetted by the United States, going to sit down there and wait until we get to you.
That doesn't make no sense, though.
No, that's partly true. That's partly true. It is people that are sitting. Let me finish this one point.
They're just not
let me finish a little part, Mr. Cowie. That is true. That is true. It is. Let me finish this part. It is people that, for example, are in Mexico and they're being said you cannot come over. They said we're threatened, and they're vetting them at the border at Mexico, and they're saying, for example, you cannot come over because we're not accepting any more immigrants. But I can't go back to my country. Okay, then we'll send you to Belize. We'll send you to wherever, El Salvador, wherever we want to send you. Those are the people. So, but there are also people that are in the United States that are waiting immigration court to determine whether they're whatever they call it. I can't think of the word they call it, but whether they qualify for not amnesty, but for acceptance into the United States.
Mr. Morrison, could you allow me to explain this thing one more time?
Okay.
There is no such thing of people wanting to go into the United States, and if they are not allowed, they will allow to come here. So that is not true. We agree on that, right?
No, we don't agree on that. We do not agree on that.
I'm saying that is not true. It is not in this agreement.
That is true.
That is no.
What is in the agreement is what you said, Mr. Groove. What is in the agreement is that Belize will be a holding area until when they can be processed.
How will that work?
How do you know? How will you determine? How do you determine that? How do you determine
that? How would that work? How would that work?
Now, if you want to just go on I know you can go on the internet, and the agreement is right there.
But you could summarize it first. So how would that work? Because what somebody wants to say somebody's in El Salvador and wants to go to the United States. What, they will be coming here first and wait here until they're vetted?
Till they get vetted, they are waiting here.
To me, that makes sense. How would you do that? We can't accommodate that number of people. Yeah. And where would they be coming from? One country or from many countries?
You see what I said to you earlier, that they are limiting the amount. Then you're saying we would not be able to accommodate those people. I am saying to you, it is not an unlimited amount. It's only to be
we cannot accommodate an unlimited amount, but it's not going to be 10. It's not going to be 10 people per year.
Yeah, but how much will it be?
Whatever the United States want. Whatever the United States want.
No. The treaty is not unlimited, man. I'm telling you, it isn't. Why we want to sign one treaty unlimited and send thousands and thousands of people? That don't make no sense, man. No country.
There's so many things we do that don't make sense.
Of course, we don't even have to do it with the United States. We can't do it with another country. We could do it in any other countries who signed the convention. I think we should read the treaty first.
I am going to read it. I'm
All
going to
I
read it
think,
again.
all I am saying, do you think the United States would be the waiting room for Mexico or Canada? Never. Do you think France would be the waiting room for the United Kingdom? Never. But we would be the waiting room for the United States.
But
The
don't
people
you
on
think?
the try to get here. It's none
Don't
of
you
our
think?
business.
Don't you think the United States should be the waiting room for itself? They have enough
Exactly.
space. They have
There
an
should
area.
be.
They will clear out an area that's uninhabited and do that.
Yes, G Mike, but that would make sense. The same way how they should cure their drug addicts instead of killing people, but that would make sense.
But there are a lot of things. Anyway, listen, we're moving on with this. There are a couple of things that happened in Belize. This and this one interesting with this gentleman that knocked down the police officer, and they've decided to charge him.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of back and forth on Facebook, and there are some people who are saying that maybe they should give us some leniency. Maybe they shouldn't be so harsh on him, and the man probably never mean it and whatnot. And any comments on it? Are you familiar with the case, group?
Yeah, nobody, well, I don't believe anybody ever set out to kill anybody. A road traffic accident. The gentleman was charged with 5 counts. He was charged with manslaughter by negligence, death by careless conduct, driving without due care, failure to report, and failure to stop. To me,
Right.
I could understand failure to report. I could understand failure to stop and render assistance. But to me, manslaughter by negligence, death by careless conduct, and driving without due care are almost the same law. Driving manslaughter by negligence mean that you were careless in your conduct and you caused somebody death. So
Right.
manslaughter by negligence and death by careless conduct are almost the same thing to me. And
That's
driving
fine.
without
That's fine. I don't mind them charging him on all those things, because usually as they go through the case, they may
Right.
eliminate some of those charges
Not all
and
will hold.
and
Correct.
settle on one that becomes more appropriate and more convictable. So I don't have a problem with those overcharging on those 3 points. I
Okay.
do believe that our laws need to be enforced. There are so many reckless drivers on the road of Belize. And part of it might be education, part of it might be enforcement that needs to be done. We need to have better. And definitely part of it seems to be the constant driving under the influence of some type of substance.
I
Yeah.
think the worst part of that was the not rendering aid, because when you hit that man,
Yeah.
that person might still have been alive, and you might have had an opportunity to save his life had you stopped and rendered aid. That was the biggest mistake made. Now, and then he would say, well, all right, I never drunk, or you could have gone after you sobered up, or did something like that. So I think those charges had to be filed, and you're perfectly correct, Greg, in that they might give you 2 or 3 charges just in case one no hold, the other one might. So in a case like that,
Point taken. Point
yeah,
taken.
I understand when people sympathize that, oh, this was a nice guy. This is a guy who would never do that intentionally. That's all right. That victim is still no less dead. His family is left to suffer and live without him. That was a very serious offense. So
Right.
I didn't see anything wrong with the charges at all.
Well, I didn't see anything wrong with them. I'm just saying that to me, they look like the same thing. I would like to ask you fine gentlemen, what do you think about the massive cabinet shakeup?
Well, I think Mr. Musa got punished for saying that he wanted an independent investigation.
I believe so.
That's definitely in the cards of.
But the Prime Minister said he wanted one too, so should he be replaced also?
Maybe, except you have to ask G. Mike about that.
You see, they said that they wanted an independent investigation, knowing that we didn't have the infrastructure to do an independent investigation. And after they have moved around the evidence so much that it's crispy clean right now, and they gave it to the DPP with no meat on the bones, the DPP said it was garbage. So to me, that was just
less than nothing. She said less than
nothing. That was a blatant cover up to get rid of evidence by the time it reached the person I should have gotten to in the first place.
What evidence was there that you think that it was getting rid of? Because the DPT did say that nobody saw what happened. There were no witnesses.
The cameras
were there, and it was not clear though.
No, the cameras are clear.
Enhance it. You saw on the camera exactly what was happening. Greg, you saw the footage.
The reason why the footage looked like that, the reason why the footage looked like that is because Jules took the real footage and had to zoom it in so that they couldn't tell where the footage came from, because people were scared to know that they were trying to get the truth out. But if they really wanted to fix this case, if they wanted to fix this case, all they had to do was talk to the police officer in uniform that went over there and ask him, who did you talk to and what did he tell you?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's it right there. That and the license plate, but nobody. I've been at the
It's a cover-up. It's a cover-up.
Last night, and I know that I could, that's the way you'd solve that case. But this case, to me, this case is done. This case isn't going to go anywhere. They might as well not waste the public's money anymore, because everything that could have told you what happened has been wiped out of the files.
It's a shame. It's a shame where we see this actually sits right now, because I think it threatens the independence of our judiciary. I think it violates civil rights and constitutional rights.
I have made it quite clear where I stand on that, and I think that's none of that is relevant there. It's not going to do any of that, because at the end of the day, this was not support them. It says Sefe. Let me grab Sefe and do that. Who have never done any crimes in Belize or America. He was not on the run, or Guatemala. He was not on the run after escaping from a crime. I think that we spent 6 years harboring a criminal, and the country of Belize should be held accountable for that.
That's all right. So by G. Michael Reid's logic, your status as a Belizean citizen depends on your criminal status.
Yes. If I was in jail and escaped,
if you commit crime,
yes. If I was if I was in jail and escaped from jail, yes. If I was a child molester, yes. If I was in the presence of a murder that happened and nothing came of it, yes. You're right. I would there are some rights that you have to give up when you commit crimes like that. And when you're convicted of crimes and escape from jail, there are some rights that you
I do not care about Joseph Budna one iota. I think he should be in jail.
Yeah,
what I do care about is the way he was taking out this country. And learned people like G. Michael Reid do not see a problem with a Belizean citizen being kidnapped. And it may even be by authorities. And you don't see a problem with that.
Not at all.
Well, how do you expect me to listen to any other opinion you have and think that it makes sense? If something as easy as that, you
won't anywhere unless unless I'm hating on Trump, you won't listen to it anyway. So it doesn't matter.
Because of comments like what you just made, but like comments like that.
Yeah, all right. That's all right.
No sense. You don't think that?
I am good with that. You have a right to your opinion. I have a right to mine. How about that? My opinion is that as much I do about nothing. You got a whole lot of things to address.
Mr. Chairman, I think that if you take the position, or know that you have taken that position, you're in effect saying, in this case, we'll put aside the rule of law. Now, that I would never agree on. That's what you are saying. Secondly, we cannot, again, use somebody's character to make a judgment on a case.
No, that's not a character that I'm using. I'm saying it's a fact that he was in jail, sentenced, after being tried. If you want to carry on lie over there for check and make sure the sentence was correct, but from the fact he came after escaping jail, after being convicted on such serious crimes and kidnapping, the same ones that you're trying to get these people who you don't even know who, and they were Belizeans, obviously. Not like the Guatemalans came over and grabbed him and took him over. But the man escaped from jail.
Yes, but I am asking you.
And that means nothing. That's what you're saying.
No. I am not saying that. I am saying to you that I believe in the rule of law. That's what I believe. No, I'm saying his removal from here should, in fact, a determination should be made whether it was done in accordance with our laws.
It's a waste of time. There's sometimes I think end results.
I don't think it was rather reckless to anyone to say that dismiss with the rule of law. You cannot do that in a country.
No, you put words in my mouth. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all.
Could you please join me and Joe Coy in giving your opinion and telling the chairman for the second time tonight he was wrong?
In other words, agree with them. In other words, you're being told to agree with them. And you may do that because there are 3 people that have been wrong at one time before. It wouldn't be the first time. What you guys are saying is that, you know what? You want I forget everything else and look at this technicality, this procedure that was not followed. I am saying I'm not looking at the escape of a criminal that has proven to be a very dangerous individual, in particular to the children of this country. It's not worth the money, time, and effort that you put into defending this criminal.
All I have to say is that you cannot break the law to protect the law.
Point taken, sir. Second strike against the G, Mike, but we love you anyway.
My boy, blow smoke up my rump.
I didn't blow it. I don't mind blowing it. I want blow it.
That does not in any way add anything to your logic and takes nothing away from mine.
I will blow it when needs to be blown.
Let me share this which I had learned early in school. It's a rationalization as a social science is well established by psychologists as a defense mechanism. No, what it means is that you can rationalize it the way you want to defend what you think, but that will not make it right. No,
and so can you.
What will make it right is only what is right. There is a rule of law.
Do you believe that this gentleman was convicted and was tried and convicted in Guatemala and sentenced to 2 consecutive 25-year sentences in jail? Did you know that?
Yes, and I believe that he should
escaped.
Yeah, and I believe that he should be taken back to face his time.
All right. Do you think it should have taken 6 years?
No, I think it should have been done before.
Right. So that's basically, that's my point, and that is my whole point.
I think that all that we are saying, the rest of us, is that it must be done in accordance with the rule of law.
Yeah, but it would take what, 26 years, 36 years, 50 years?
Again, it would have been a simple thing. It would have been a simple thing. We knew he escaped from jail. We should have arrested him, put him in jail here.
So I didn't. And then what?
Well, I don't know if we have the legal right to do that, Anthony.
We popped down. Because, like, let me tell you how I could agree with G Mike. This guy don't want to sleaze bag. This guy escaped from jail in Guatemala, a country that does not recognize us, first of all. But knowing that he did what he did, and apparently the police officers and our legal system feel like he went through the legal thing, we should have detained him, or even if we didn't have extradition agreement, say, hold on, this body no escape file. But again, I would never do that because of Guatemala.
But see, there's a xenophobia at play here. Would not have gotten us some goodwill with these people. And
no, I don't think anything else. I don't think anything else.
I got one question. Would it be better or would it be worse for us to live as friends and neighbors with these people as opposed to keep on, oh, no, we're enemy, and they talk big
Oh,
on
no,
that.
you the
None
blow
to stand
smoke
up
up
on.
to we
What are you going to fight with, Mr. Man, if you want to fight? You can't keep on the
No, you
rocky
the blow
sabers.
smoke up to
We
we
don't keep up on
You
our
the
hand,
blow.
and we don't got nothing. We don't got nothing for fight with, boy.
So
What
then
you
we
want to
just
fight
bend
with?
over and take it. Then we make up we mind for bend
Who the bend
over
over? Who
and
the
take
bend
it.
over? How is this? How can you reach to that point that you the bend over? Everything for you that bend over with the bend over with the
If
treat
we
you up
don't
the
stand
side
up and
with the
fight,
bend over
we
with
are
this.
bend
Why
over
you
and take it.
don't got no bottom left on? It's a
No,
it's
exactly.
ridiculous.
You think we got?
It's ridiculous.
Even
Yes.
even the Belize government, even though he may not have done it properly, wanted to find out whether in fact he was taken out of here properly or not. They wanted to, except that they blew it.
You think so?
I don't think they
You
wanted
think
to.
they
I
wanted
think
to
once
find out, Joe?
I don't think they wanted to. I think once they saw what happened, we have seen a conspiracy of hiding the truth and
Yep.
delaying any account of what happened. They have hidden the tapes that was taken. They blow smoke and told us that they will at some point in the future when the investigation is over. What we have seen is that the prime minister condemned the first investigation and removed Mr. Rosada, and then we saw him got another report that the DPP now disregard and calls less than nothing, and nobody's held accountable. Mr. Rosado is back in his position, and so the people of Belize are left at a loss as to what is going on because we're being told.
So where I would agree, what I would agree with you on, and I must say this, that I am very familiar with that part of it because I was involved with it for 20, 30 years. I think they messed it up in what they did. I said from the outset, what happens is that the only investigating agency we have in Belize is the police.
Yeah.
The DPP cannot investigate. You agree? No.
Yeah, they get the police to do it.
They have investigators.
The DPP under the Constitution cannot investigate, and at the same time want to make decisions.
Could they direct the police to carry out an investigation?
Yes, they can. So the police are going to be investigating themselves again.
But I don't see that could potentially is a problem. But I do believe that the deputy commissioner could have carried out an adequate investigation if she had the genuine desire to do so. But it would have taken.
Well,
I don't believe that this government ever wanted.
I wish you allow me to finish it because I'm telling you what is the law since we were talking about the rule of law. No. The department itself should, in fact, because in this case, it happens to be the police, and they could have investigated. But if you don't want them to investigate, then you set up a commission of inquiry. You could have done that, not an independent investigation.
That is the biggest waste of money, a commission of inquiry, and we've seen that over and over again. But let me say this, Joe.
We have the commission of inquiry. If you believe that the police ought not to be allowed to investigate themselves, which I not say they investigate themselves. I don't see the police investigating them. They're investigating what went wrong. They're trying to find out if something went wrong. No. But if we are so cynical that we believe that there's a collusion among policemen, that none of them will want to unearth. If there is something wrong, none of them will want to unearth it. And I think that's just taking it very cynical. But since you want to be that cynical, then set up the commission of inquiry.
Yes, no, and that is my point. I am cynical indeed because I don't believe that government ever wanted to find out about this. The fact that we couldn't get the videotapes the day after it happened and all kind of stuff to go on, right away I knew they did not want this. Knowing that we did not have the structure to do an independent investigator, ministers got on TV and said, we are getting independent investigate, knowing that we didn't have the infrastructure. So now after they pass the evidence wrong everybody and then whitewash it, now they say we are give it to the DPP.
Which was
but you know what I hear they say at G Mike? Do you think that they have legislation being written up for an independent investigator? Because if they don't, they don't really care. You know, they don't really care.
How would you recommend going about setting up an independent investigation? How do you think they would do that?
They have to do legislation and pass laws and all
with
kinds
that
of stuff.
legislation, how are you going to get people in Belize who are really objective? Because you don't.
Yeah.
Most people are like you, either one fanatic on one side or fanatic on the other. You know,
No, you see,
middle ground
I believe the fanatic on this panel is you.
You
Because
know,
you have a
cynic
thing
on this
where
panel is you.
our national sovereignty isn't worth nothing to you. Our borders don't mean nothing to
How
you.
can you make such ridiculous?
Because you
stupid
just said it. You
They're
believe that citizenship.
they're foolish statements that it adds nothing to your argument, son.
It's what you just said.
Your statements, they don't mean nothing to me. You can't interpret what I say.
A Belizean citizen.
Can I ask this question again? Can I ask this question?
Yeah.
Three of us believe that there should have been and should be a determination made as to whether he was removed in accordance with the law or not. Three of us hold strong to that, except the chairman. Now, how is it that we were supposed to go about making that determination? Because we don't seem to want a commission of inquiry. We don't want the police to investigate. So in the end, we better all agree.
No, I think everybody agreed that. No, that's not true. I agree that I don't have a problem necessarily with the police investigating. They're the only entity under our law that could do the investigation. What I would have hoped, they would have appointed an independent individual to sort of sit at it and say, Mr. Police, these are the things I want you to look at, right? Since we don't believe the police will objectively look at those things, and probably they did not, according to what the DPP is saying. She got less than nothing. And we all know there could be more than something to be given to her.
You know what I find funny?
Let me show you what they could have done. And if the Prime Minister had asked me, I would have advised them. He could have got the police to do the investigation, and you made a very good point. And he could have got somebody from the Attorney General's office to oversee. And that's it, let me do.
A retired judge, an independent person like a retired judge, somebody like that. But what I'm saying
somebody knowledgeable.
What I'm saying is it would be foolish for us to think that our government is even preparing in case something like this happen again. We already realize we can't. We don't have the capacity for an independent
has something like this happened? Has something like this happened before?
Yes.
Where?
And that case is going before the court.
Which one? The one with Herbert.
That's right. He had already won.
How come we didn't get the outcry over that?
He has already won.
We didn't know. You know, it was more secret then.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was open. That was broadcast on the news.
He had already won a case for $30,000 they had to give him. And now he's putting forward another case.
Yeah. Yep. I just heard about that guy when it was on the news lately.
Maybe Woodnall got 30,000 too. It's stupid.
I think Woodnall got millions.
I would wish to get 200.
You would like for him to get money, yeah.
I would love for him to get
No. I'm saying what was the grievousness of the harm that was done needs to be held accountable.
What harm was done? What harm was done?
You see, it doesn't make. Let's go on to the next topic. You might not see nothing that was
done.
Answer the
question. Simple. You make no sense. You might the simple. You know, with a man like you, that has nothing to do with the case.
You don't know what crime was done.
I'm asking you, what harm was done?
He said crime.
No, I said harm. If it's not to individual Budna, to our national identity as Belizeans, when he was kidnapped by our sovereign government that is required to protect the rights of each citizen.
You know, like Joe said, when he want the Prime Minister ask her, and I'm going to ask me. She might be, I think I should do with this thing. And I said, boy, telling people that man gone, they went for business and left it there. He may have done. You may have done, but they never got a bastard and they try to please Jules and everybody else out there. Oh, they're trying to step wrong and take the political approach where nobody can be left
But
dissatisfied.
G. Mike, the Prime Minister said that it was wrong to remove him
But they
and that
were
he did
blaming
not.
they blamed the prime minister, right? Because it
Yes,
was the night after Budna approached him and pushed on Mikey in his face and
yes.
almost disrespected him
But
that
G Mike,
this occurred. Many
G
people were
Mike.
suggesting that he might be the one who ordered it. How
So
about
you
that?
not see nothing. You not see nothing wrong with the whole process of this thing. You not see nothing wrong.
I see nothing wrong with Budna being where he belongs in jail. I
All
don't see
right,
nothing
good.
wrong with
So
that.
the end justifies
No,
the means.
but here's the thing, though, and I'll tell you why we're so gullible. And I'm a perfect example of it. Because I listened to you a bit this morning, Groove, and you were blowing
I ain't not
the deep.
gullible. First of
Hold
all,
on,
I ain't not gullible.
hold up. The DPP were the best thing since sliced bread.
That's not what I said.
We
That's
got
not
some
what I said.
integrity. We got yourself. We still got some integrity there and
Yes,
belief in the judicial system.
in the DPP. That's
In
not
the
what I said.
DPP. To this
I,
point, the DPP has been criticized to no end. All of a sudden, now the one thing we agree with what you want, and now she's the best thing out there. Do you
that
see something
you
wrong
got
with that?
the whole story wrong.
Here
What
you
I'm
go.
saying is because right now a lot of people do not trust the police department. They do not trust the government
You don't
because
trust
of this
nobody.
whole fiasco. Because everybody said there's a cover up going on. Now the DPP, the DPP get the file, looked at it, and instead of the DPP say, you know what, this is a good file, and we are close this case. The DPP said this is a garbage. This is
He
a
says less
garbage.
than nothing. He says less than nothing. That's how it works.
Exactly, it's less than nothing. So that make people feel like me, like, oh, I ain't no crazy. She this way I this too. So there's still a little bit of faith left in that. That
What
faith should
was
be in the police department
serious?
and in the government.
You serious? What was supposed to be in that file, Groove?
G Mike, I know I play your games. The evidence that was in there was
No, but
supposed
I
to be
use
in
the wheel.
there.
All
The
right, forget it.
evidence that was in there is supposed to be in there.
I want to use the wheel. All right, let's not play my games. No,
Yes.
there was a long blackout a couple of days ago, and what I found impressive was that Belizeans didn't jump up and holler that the sky is falling. I mean,
No.
everybody took it in stride. It went for 12 hour, one of the longest I remember,
That's
and
right.
everybody just took it in stride. The
Because
blackout.
social media was done, they couldn't complain.
No, seriously, I was on social media, but I got a plan. But anyway, I think that there were a mark that we're getting a little more mature, and I like that because you have to understand that shit does happen. Things happen, and sometimes things are unavoidable. So you can't stop and cry on every little thing and spend your whole time concentrating on something that's frivolous or that you can't do nothing about. We would hope that they don't happen much. If you look on Jamaica, just hit by this hurricane, you can imagine how many blackouts they had and for how long. So this was something that happened. I'm in my bed thinking, "Boy, glad I don't want any police, on any BEL man out there. We have to climb the lamp post and try to fix things right now in this rain and cool and conditions out there. No? So I think I was happy about that, and I don't know if anybody else felt. Groove, you might feel like you had a complaint to make about that.
No,
Anything?
let me tell you something, G Mike. I want to applaud the government. I want to applaud the government for sending 7 electricians over to Jamaica to help to restore power. I want to applaud the government for sending 200,000 Belize dollars to Jamaica and to Cuba. Those are things that I think, I don't know, no, I would have hate to be identified as a UDP or to be identified as a PUP. I am not a politician. I don't personally, I don't care who
You're a
you.
Democrat. You have to stop your lie. You have to stop your lie.
No,
You're a
no, no, I
Democrat.
am not even a demo. I don't believe that no man supposed to be in a gal bathroom. I don't believe that transvestite men supposed to be playing girl sport. That's a Democrat's policy. That's not my policy. I am a free thinker, G Mike. I don't pull nobody line. You know, I see me to go with the popular vote. Most of the opinions where I have are very unpopular, but I know it's true. I know
I
it's
hear
a fact.
you talking, but from your comments on this show, at least. And from what I've heard from you, that is not the case. Not when it comes to the Republicans and Trump. You're dead because I've heard you say that you would not ever agree nothing with what you just said are some things that the Republicans have said. Do you realize that?
There is nothing that I have seen of Donald Trump and the Republicans in the past 8 years that would make me think that anything that they have planned is a good thing.
But the
That's
very
all I can tell you.
but what you just said about men not playing in women's sports, um,
Yeah,
only two genders, male and female,
yeah.
those are Republican points.
Yes, that's why.
I,
That's what you said. That you
I
said
think
I
they're
was a
also I
Democrat.
think they're also Democratic
No,
points.
you
You
said
have to
you said
realize.
no, G Mike. You said I was a Democrat, and I'm telling you, no, I'm not, because I don't believe in men playing in women. That's a Democrat platform. They believe in
Well,
all of that nice
yeah,
shit. I don't believe in all of that crap.
I agree with you, and that's where I stand. I don't believe in any of those things about the gender roles and
But
stuff.
those are I
But
don't.
but I
Go
think those are an extreme of. We have to always remember how the
Yeah.
Democratic Party is constituted, right? It takes from very liberal to some very conservative Democrat. We haven't seen that played out much because of how the parties have went to some extreme. And probably we did see some conservative Democrat or conservative independent approach with those 8 Democrats that align themselves with the position of Trump in terms of opening the government. I don't know what their ideological positions are, so I can't speak to that in reality. But that sort of independence is what I admire about the Democratic Party, that they
Yeah.
will allow the gamut and
Hmm.
extremes of both points.
Yeah. I
So therefore, you see, I was about to ask both of you the question, but I think you have answered it. You don't believe in those kind of transgender thing, but you
Right.
believe they have the right to do what they want.
That's correct.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes, yes,
Let me tell
yes,
you, I
I
have
am.
yes.
no problem with homosexuality. I ain't okay if you want to get married to man, woman, or well, I know I said dog, but man or woman, that are your business. What you do in your house is your business. But when you want to tell me that God make you with 2 balls and you got one tortoise now, so you supposed to be able to go play women's sport. You supposed to be able to walk a girls' bathroom. I don't believe in that in the crap. You're
Yeah,
taking
yeah,
it way too far. So
yeah.
I would never say I don't want Democrat. I lean more to liberal ideas, but I would not call myself a Democrat. I definitely would not call myself a Republican. I used to be Republican minded one time. My brother almost always reminded me. But I grew up just like reading the Bible. There came a point when I grew up and I said, no, all of their stories true. They're only lessons. And
One
that a
more.
lot of us not do that.
Let's go. Let's look at the situation. Two motorcycle crash into one another. What is going on with the motorcycle situation in Belize? Because it get out of hand. Sometimes two deaths a day.
Yeah, yeah.
Rocket. It's a pocket rocket.
I I
No,
I
but
think
It's
I think we need education. We need more stringent testing. We need to make sure that we have proper traffic enforcement. Those are some of the things that would sort of kind of alleviate some of the issues with this type of incident that's going on. It's just we're losing too much valuable citizens in this, and it is young people that we're losing.
all
So
young
that should
people,
that
mostly.
should be that
you
should be
realize
the future backbone and strength of our country and our economy.
When you get a driver's license, you have an A, B, C, D. Um, one is for motorcycle, one is for vehicle, one is for trucks.
Every
I believe one for everything.
commercial, yeah, yeah.
Should they have a specific license for motorcycles and that they have to abide by certain specific rules of the road? Because there's a
I
There's
don't
a
think
law
specific.
against.
I just think the rules of the road is bypassed. I think people are. I think from what I've seen, the people on the road are careless. They're not obeying the law. There's lots going on that it is desired, and I think, as I said, education and enforcement is what's necessary.
This should be taught in the later years of school, because like you said, the majority of people getting killed are young people. And where I know from growing up, you could teach young people certain things, but young people heart is bad. They always, there's an old saying where say you have to feel for land. And sometimes when they feel, they not live for learn the lesson. But I think where all the motorcycle crash, we should hang up some of the motorcycle along the highways on the lampposts.
You
Just to
remember when
remind.
they put on mash-up truck?
I remember upon the George Price.
Yeah,
But
I
but
don't
when
know if
that
that
man,
may help.
yeah, I believe you me, G Mike. When you dey drive fast and you look up and you see that truck like that, you want to slow down. And if you're on a motorcycle and you look at motorcycles along the highway like that, hopefully they're
It'll be
gonna
an
slow down.
interesting study because it was there for many years, and it'll be interesting to check that time period to see if the fatalities or traffic accidents went down significantly enough to say that it worked. I don't know. I think somebody look up and and then crash because you're not going to pay attention on the road. So
But
I
yeah, can
let's.
I comment on this?
Uh-huh.
I think what is happening, this thing is far bigger than motorcycles. This thing about case of a systemic breakdown right across the country. The increase in crimes, the increase in indifference to law of order,
Yeah.
the increase in corruption in government, the increase in corruption in the private sector with merchants, the increase in indifference to religion today, the increase right within the unions. We spoke just now about a cabinet, and we never did mention what we think about why was the reshuffle. I
No may
saw
work.
the I saw the news the evening when the unions were in fact complaining, and I was appalled myself as to why is it these things had to have happened with mistaken advances for loans or advances for payments that you were not to pay back. I'm only citing it.
Mm-hmm.
We have to begin to take stock of a problem, a serious breakdown in our society. I said to you, Chairman, and I know you have quoted it before, if we cannot go back to be taught to be upright, you will not be able to hold us upright, the amount of us that are becoming an upright. So to me, it is a serious problem. And I think we need to take a serious look and maybe take one of these same shows and put a half an hour to it as something to begin to search for solutions.
I think basically it has to do with early childhood training,
That's right.
um, common sense. The main part of it because a lot of it are nonsensical things that are occurring and causing it to happen. We're not got enough time to look carefully at the femicide problem where there's so many women in the last month were killed, a large number of them, a lot of domestic affair problems. We saw this one with this lady. We take the gun from the auntie and shoot this man. And I noticed they dealt with that case in record haste. A lot of cases stay in the courts for months and months. The drag on. This case was in 2 months. They done got this lady out on the street. I think that needed a little more time to look at. A sad situation. As we run out, one more thing on next week, Wednesday, of course, is Garifuna Settlement Day, and that will be celebrated across the country. While it used to be only in Dangriga, it seems now that there are almost countrywide celebrations on national and bank holiday, of course. Um, and I wish we had more time and a guest that could deal with this because I always wonder. I've heard Garifuna people also refer to themselves as indigenous, but I don't know that you can be indigenous and also have a settlement day. So, celebration, no? But I want
Oh,
Salina,
you are the quarrel, you are quarrel, dead, G Mike. I tell where it's set up.
I'm just raising the point now.
I hear
Um,
what
I,
you say.
I think that's something where, again, I go back to the point that we have to be unified. We have to come together as a people and realize that one small belief we have, we cannot balkanize. We cannot have one crowd over here, next crowd over here, next crowd over there. We're small as it is. Will make us even smaller. We have to realize we're all Belizeans and moving forward. I have said this many years. I think that should be a cultural day where all our ethnic groups highlight their specific cultures and customs and whatnot, come together as a people and celebrate our differences, as opposed to everybody drawing one side and want to seem to be more special than anybody else. I think it's
May I
better.
just interject because I'm 75% Garifuna, 50% Creole, and 30% Chinese. And all I would want to say is that nobody else fought for that day. TV Ramos did, and they got that day. The month of November, I believe, is like one cultural month because schools all around. My daughter right now dressing up as an Asian woman for school because they are acknowledging other cultures around this time. But November 19th, that is set aside for the Garifuna people, just like how December 25th set aside for Jesus and Easter set for the rabbit. So, everybody got their thing. Anybody could celebrate their culture, but the Garifuna people demanded theirs.
Well,
And that's that is your argument against the point that I made. Is that it?
It's not
All
it's
right.
not against the point that you made. I
what
am
is
in
Uh,
it?
support.
What is the day for the
Go ahead,
Creole?
Joe.
What is the day for the Creole?
Emancipation Day, I
Huh?
gather. The new Emancipation Day, which they think, I think, was for the third time it was a
No,
holiday this year.
Anyway, listen. That one will require too much. Let me do only public service here. We're gonna have a fundraising event, and this is Saturday, sponsored by Buddy Brown, and of course, promoted over there by our promoter at this show, Clinton Young, CY, and the
See,
some of this will trickle down to the Charlie Burton Park. We're hoping. So we're looking for a
yes.
success. We want everybody to support this and I see he's putting up the flyer here for the movie night that we're gonna have at the Charlie Burton Park. This will be on the 29th of November. So we're getting ready to open the Christmas season. You know, it opens on the 19th. So what I got my problem with the 19th, specifically assigned to one particular ethnic group, but we use that as one point or mark that they will start to celebrate and put up lights and play Christmas music and whatnot. And that's all right with me. Thanksgiving, of course, coming up, and I always think we should celebrate Thanksgiving in Belize. I think that one very important thing, a part of giving thanks for whatever it is. That not only to give thanks for no pilgrim or no, you don't have to be with turkey. It could be with only corazon. But I think we should all stop at some point in our life and give thanks because we're here not by our own doing, our own power, of course, but that is what it is. Gentlemen, anybody got final words? Anything you want to say? What you want to say? Uh,
Um, the only thing I wanted to say was that there was a young man that was killed, a BDF soldier that was killed a few months ago by another BDF and two police officers that were on patrol. And the police officers and the BDF said that the off-duty BDF that was killed aggressed them, and they felt threatened. But when the DPP looked at the videotape, they realized that's not true. This person wasn't threatening you. And the only thing that I would like to say, I don't believe that we should put the military in the streets of Belize. The police are trained to de-escalate. Military are trained to kill. When they get out there and they see a problem, they don't attack you, they shoot you. If somebody is coming up to you unarmed, and you have 3 officers there, and at least one of them have one gun, why aim at his chest? Why somebody never just... Yeah, anyway.
I hear you. That train to kill, I've heard that before. You don't train a person to kill. That person already has some kind of stupidity now. You train them to shoot and to how if they need to in war kill, but not to that when you say that to something like and train them go out there and kill anybody when they see. That is not true. That makes no sense.
I was in the military and they trained me to kill. When I have my uniform on and I step out there, we were trained to kill. My brother, I think, made a guard one depot where they had money. He was in the Marines, and they had a general or somebody who liked to test the soldiers. So he walked up on the place, and my brother did what they said. He locked his weapon. He said, halt. The person didn't halt. He fired over the person's head. The person didn't stop. He fired over the head again. The person didn't stop, and he aimed right for the man's head back. And he said, halt. And if the person didn't stop him, I put it right in their head back. But the guy stopped on the 3rd time because he know what the protocol was.
So that's story there. You just I will never get back in 2 minutes where I sit down and listen to that simpleness there. Anyway,
hey, I'll get you next week. I'll get you next week.
Same time, same place. Thanks a lot, guys. See why?
So give me a G, Mike.
Yeah. Have a nice day, people.
You too.
Good night, guys.
European again. Once again, while alongside Kevin. All Rasta here are massive, everyone knows. Rasta, yeah. Here are massive, loud and clear. Make your bed out and kneel, have to sleep on it. Other people business, you better stop peep on it. Only your friends can know about your secret. If Adam you, I would have just keep it. Make your bed out and kneel, have to sleep on it. Other people business, you better stop peep on it. Only your friends can know about your secret. Don't reveal it. Yo, nowadays highly inclined. Sweating said after they invent rhyme. We forefathers made it touch it way before time. Proverbs, make it way in a line. Them say, seek and ye shall find. Them must set the road so with lots of signs. Hard head, soft behind. That's why high is big nigga market too kind. And I'm on step on me grind. We teach the Rasta use the way the system designed. The one I'm a knocking in the land of the blind. So don't do the crime if you can't do the crime. Don't try to kill the messenger, cause the message is sublime. You can't have no clue who the bell jam. You can't throw shit if you don't get no shine. Friend of an enemy is not a friend of mine. Is not a friend of mine. Make your bed out and you'll have to sleep on it. Other people will be